I'm gonna put this as a video, but this is probably not the greatest advice I've given, so do not take this very seriously. We're gonna do a completely different version of Therapy Thursday today. I just want, instead of me talking about what kind of topic, I honestly don't know what to bring up. So instead, I'm just gonna say that right now, most of the time, you're okay. Like a lot of people, I want to say, I am not a professional. I am a high school student. But you don't have to believe everything I say, especially if you're older. You know what's right and wrong. And if you're my age, you can disagree with me. You don't have to take my opinion that seriously. You know what's best for yourself. You know what's correct. And anyone younger than me, you can consider my advice, but don't take it seriously as well because I'm not a professional. Um, but I really do want to tell everyone watching this video that you're actually okay. Like, you're fine. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my first month into being a senior year, kind of been like, not overwhelming myself, but I definitely have been kind of just thinking about what I will do in the future and how it's gonna turn out. I'm honestly really worried about that, right? But at the same time, I think all the adults can say, you are okay, you got time, right? And I bet you all the adults that are stressing out about whatever they do, but you even older people will say that they're okay and they're fine. And I want to tell you that you've whatever you're doing right now, maybe you have a bad habit or whatever your bad habits are. At the end of the day, and you want to get when you do need to get rid of them, your body will tell you, right? That's when you moved on. Everything kind of happens for a reason, Like I kind of stopped. Um, for example, I kind of stopped like scrolling on my phone as much as I used to. There's one like month it was really bad, and kind of just decided to not do it or not do it as much, right? And slowly try to dim down the minutes every single week. Even though it can be considerably hard, it's something I've been trying to do, and I hope that anyone else that's trying to stop those habits, like doom scrolling or whatever, they instead of taking it like and going full commitment wise and thinking I will just stop this altogether or I will do something to make it like permanently switch off like that. I want you to know that you should take your time with it, honestly, because the thing is that you have a lot more time left in the world, so you should take everything pretty slow, right? I don't want anyone to be stressing out and honestly stressing out about life. If anything, the only thing you should be stressed out about is what you need to do next, what you need to do right now in the current moment to get something done, like work, like jobs, or something like actually serious, like serious enough to impact your day tomorrow, not serious enough that will impact your future. I don't think it should be stressful, but instead you should try to see it as like some kind of optimistic way. Because a lot of people in this world are very pessimistic. I'm not going to talk about politics, but I will mention how everything in politics has to be pessimistic. And that's the one reason why I don't like talking about politics because I I'm an optimistic person. I hate it when people keep talking about bad things. Like, why can't we talk about good things about both people instead of bad things about both people? I also want to state that like everything does really take time. A lot of people do strive for deep connection with friends or deep connection with more people because we want to have closer and tighter relationships. But I want you to notice that a lot of your friends, for example, for me, a lot of my best friends even, I'm not really that vulnerable with them, but yet they're my best friends just because we share the hobby. We share something that we like, right? I want you to also reflect on all the trends that are like that. And I want you to realize that there are people that do strive for the deep connection that I do want more. I want deeper connections with some people, or I want to have better, higher quality friends. I want you to notice that it doesn't really it takes a lot more time than you think, right? It takes a lot of effort. And whatever you're doing does take a lot of effort. Or whatever. And, just because of that, where you want to start something new, where you do want to do something, I want you to take it much slower because thing is that whatever you're doing right now, it's a lot, right? And when you're trying to add something new into it instantly, that is incredibly, incredibly harsh on yourself. You don't need to be that big, like, movie character that can do it all when they was given a task and be like, yeah, I could do it. And then they just doing it like that. That's hard. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of effort. It takes very mentally draining on yourself and causes you to start to overthink about some things that you probably should not be overthinking about. Um, Everything needs to be taken Probably much lower than you think. I've been working decently hard at this, but at the same time, I've been gradually increasing my my video, not really video quality. Some days I'm just behind and I can't make the video, so I have to. But for the videos I do want to work on, I do need to actually fully go in depth on them. And one of the videos are coming out in July, and I'm worried, but I still have what 29 more days till the end of the month. Gotta finish it I gotta finish up in 30 days, really, or 28 days. But I think these types of projects shouldn't be taken too seriously, because at the end of the day, it didn't determine your life, right? Show us what I want for myself, but it didn't determine my life. You should work hard enough to make yourself feel good, not tax yourself so much where your whole life depends on it. I want you to also know this. I want you to also not be worried too much about the social life. I get it. There's a lot of people that it's very hard to talk to some people sometimes, right? Maybe you're an extrovert and it's very easy to talk to some people, but the people that you talk to kind of weird. You can just tell from the bat they don't click, right? That's a very good thing that extrovert people can have. They have that habit of, oh, this person doesn't click with me, so I'm just going to kind of side them off because sometimes that one analogy where they say you're blue, so don't try it. So when someone else is looking for green, you don't kind of mess with it, right? Um, because the thing is that you don't you're gonna start wasting your time, right? Once you start trying to become friends with that person when you should have given up a long time ago, you could have been investing that into other things. And I also want people to reflect. I wish more people do reflect about themselves, about what they're currently doing that maybe feels very, very heavily taxing. Maybe it is listening to this person that's constantly ranting about their life all the time because this person keeps venting to you about everything. It probably will be mentally draining. Probably will be a lot, right? But you know what's best for yourself. You know what's best for yourself and how much you can handle, how much you yourself can do. So I want whoever that person is that maybe, not stressing you out, but kind of adding to your life of things that you don't need, or, that you don't need that type of thoughts. I hope that you can reflect and take your own step back. Um, because what you're doing right now is you are fine. Honestly, you're fine. Honestly, I don't know where I'm going with this. This is really just a rant. I really want more people to notice that everything is really good, in their life. Everything's pretty chill. Some things are bad. Um, but the more you sit on the bad things, the more it's just gonna take longer for you to move on. So, you also don't want to let things rot, especially. That's the worst, right? When one thing is bad, you don't want to sit on it. It's like how some people say that, or how some people if there's one there's one bad orange that's rotting, right? But every other orange is good. You know, a lot of people just throw away that one orange and let the rest sit there, right? But sometimes you gotta realize that if something is bad, you just gotta take your step back before everything else becomes bad. And just once you throw all of it away and you let it go, it's very easy to kind of just realize that was a waste of my time. That was not something I needed to do. That was not something, you know, that would not some I know I could have prevented it earlier, but I did not, and I did not shoot the work to do that. And I hope that more people can reflect on themselves. That also, there's a lot of people that say "Oh, I'm not good enough for that. I'm not good enough for that. I'm not good enough for this or that," or maybe I'm not how I want to look, and that kind of stuff. And it's true. I'm not gonna deny it. Those are valuable facts. That is how you want to perceive yourself, right? I'm not gonna say exact. I know the best thing, and not to just say you look good. No, that's not. I want you. That's not gonna make yourself feel better. Sometimes it will. Sometimes a compliment literally makes someone's day, right? Someone mentioned to me about how one time they liked my yellow backpack because of how kiddish it looks, and I felt very good about myself that day. Never received a compliment on my backpack. And, I thought about that for the whole day and it made my day. Sometimes it's good, it's a good temporarily, but how much does it actually affect in the long run? Probably nothing, right? So if you do are feeling bad about yourself, or you don't feel good about how you look, or whatever you're insecure about, I do want you to also just realize that there's so many good things with you. Okay. You don't need to, those insecurities, they're gonna stay for a while, right? Until you finally decide to work on them, which is when you do decide. Doesn't need to be now, of course, but it can be over a gradual period of time. But it's much better to think about the optimistic stuff of like, what am I actually doing right now? What am I actually doing right? And if you say nothing, then I want you to kind of ask other people what you're doing right. I bet you a lot of people do say that there's a lot of things you are doing right, right? Even though you might not feel it, you know, I think with enough words from other people, it can kind of start shifting your mind and kind of start thinking about stuff that might change your perspective on how you view yourself. Um, but of course, it's not really possible until you decide to take your own step back and decide that I do think about this my way. For example, there's a lot of people can empathize and sympathize about stuff as well. I want If you say that you're not good enough about this thing, and you start venting about it to another person, a good amount of the time, maybe if someone doesn't know what to say, and they do care about you a lot, they will empathize and say something. I experienced the same thing, something similar. Or they'll say, "Yeah, that kind of reminded me of this time." To kind of share that feeling that I remember when that happened to me. It doesn't really need to be the same feeling. It doesn't need to be anything like that, but it just shows the type of connectivity that I want to be there for you, right? And but you're never gonna do that if you just stay silent all the time. And you're never gonna know if you say you're not good enough about these things, but you don't talk to anyone. It's gonna be kind of hard on what you are actually not good at. Because there's a lot of things that I'm not good at, for example, but there's a lot of things that I realize that I'll get better at over time. Or I'll let the future me decide what to do with it. Because right now, you should be probably just free and not have to worry about anything. And let your future self kind of decide what he wants to do or she wants to do with it. That's all I have to say today. I'm going to edit a lot of the video out. But instead of Therapy Thursday, it's Therapeutic this book. She help lighten the mood instead of me saying what's wrong with the philosophical stuff. So yeah, this is probably not the greatest advice that I've given, probably ever. Um, but hopefully it did make someone say. Hopefully it did make someone kind of relieved. If that's you, then amazing. But I hope whoever's watching this a-okay. They have a great day. Okay, I'll see y'all next Thursday.